Hey, 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 I am back online. It's always too long. Hello, internet fams. How are you? Super excited. We're doing a Dear Journal for this month before the month is over. So stay tuned for like a couple of seconds and then we're going to get started. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. I hope you're ready to have a fun conversation about the word no. It's a two-letter word that has quite an impact in our world. So with that, it's time. Let's get started. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Natasha Nurse. I'm the founder of Dressing Your Mate, which is a coaching platform designed to help you really focus on how to be as to have prosperity and to live with purpose and to just live the life that you want for yourselves and absolutely can achieve. And every month I come on here and I do a Dear Journal because I like to write. And recently I've been doing more of a electronic journaling, which has been really kind of fun. Mostly I've been old school and been paper pen kind of situation, but I have a deck that I will share with you. Where will you be able to get that? That will be in the recap post on the blog on dressingyourmate.com. So you have to come back to dressingyourmate.com to kind of see the journal itself if you want to see that. But if you aren't familiar with who I am, again, I will kind of go through that for new people and also just if you're hanging with me. I do a lot. I'm a speaker. I do coaching primarily. I like to focus my coaching on accountability or on media or career coaching. And then obviously writer. I mentioned my blog. I'm also a content creator. Outside of this, I have a podcast. Entrepreneur, everything. I do everything. I'm very Jamaican. My family instilled be productive very much through and through me. So I love to do a lot of different things. Today, we're going to talk about the two-letter word no and why it's important to say it and how to go about saying it. And like I said, you'll be able to capture this recap video as well as the journal itself. So you'll be able to see kind of what I wrote down for yourself on dressingyourmate.com. So stay tuned for that next week. Now, with kind of talking about journaling quickly, I just encourage you, especially when I come on here, to just think about journaling for yourself. We all get very busy and very productive in our lives, or maybe not, but either way, it's just really important to be reflective of what's going on and to take moments to think about what felt good, what didn't feel good, what are things that you'd like to change, writing these thoughts down, whether it's on a computer, on your phone, or in a notebook, and just embracing moments of reflection. So I just encourage you to do that. I hope that every time you watch these, you're like, oh, Tosh said to do this. Yes. Tosh said to do it, so obviously you're going to do it. Now, I found a really cool quote by Stephanie Lehart, which again, you'll be able to find on the blog next week, dressingyourmate.com. And she says the following: let today mark a new beginning for you. Give yourself permission to say no without feeling guilty, mean, or selfish. Anybody who gets upset or expects you to say yes all of the time clearly doesn't have your best interests at heart. Always remember, you have a right to say no without having to explain yourself. Be at peace with your decisions. I love that quote because it's a really practical guide on why the word no matters. And then also it's permission for you to understand the significance of saying no. We, and when I say we, a lot of human beings, self included, love to make people happy. I mean, a big part of why I coach, why I have been coaching throughout my career and my personal life is the idea that I love to help people. I love to be that mirror for people and kind of force them to see the glory and amazement within themselves and also hold them accountable to make sure that they're doing what they need to do to achieve as much in this world. And of course, we have phone calls going on. Classic. And with that, I just want you to understand why we're talking about that. So that's why I picked that quote, because the word no is underutilized for some and overutilized for others. You have to know where you stand on it. Myself, I would say, because I can only speak from my perspective or my client's perspective, is the fact that I love to give and I love to say yes, but there are times where I don't necessarily, I have to work on creating more boundaries. And that's the same type of work that I do with my clients as well and helping them do the same. So just think about that for yourself as we go through this. Are you saying no enough? And are you saying no to the right people? Because a lot of times we like to say no to opportunities, but then we let people walk all over us. And then we feel really bad at the end of the day. And we can be better. We can be better for ourselves, and we can be better to ourselves. So how do we do it? I think it comes down to 8 specific things that we need to do to effectively say no and to make it stick and commit to the process. Let's go through them one by one. 1, get clear on what you want. So I say this because, if you're going to struggle with saying no if you don't know what yes is for you. So what do you want? For instance, what do you want out of today? What are the 3 things that you want to accomplish? What are the 3 things that you need to accomplish? And what are 3 things that you don't want to do? It's really easy to get to a place to know once we have a clear foundation of what our yes looks like for us. So making sure you dive deep in understanding, what do you want? What do you need? That clarity helps give you the ground to stand on to say, oh, that's not a part of what this is. So if that's not a part of what this is, no. See how simple that was? No, and you didn't want it. Yes. Okay. So we can get there. And now the second step, after you've kind of developed that grounding, that foundation for yourself, is to understand why you want to say no. So is it just you're saying no because you're scared? Are you saying no because you don't know what the outcome will be? Are you saying no because you don't know how to do it and you're not really looking to flex and expand your comfort zone at this point? Why are you saying no? Now, does that why have to be justified by anyone else? Absolutely not. This is a kind of a self-assessment for yourself. You need to understand it. Now, as a coach, I would encourage you, if the no is coming from a place of fear, if the no is coming from a place of, well, I don't know how to do it, I would challenge you, right? I would challenge you to say, is that the justification I want to go with right now? Is that the reason why I want to say no and close the door to that? Or could I say yes and move forward with it, right? It's one thing to say no to abuse or toxicity or negative people or negative situations or triggers, 100%, right? Those are things that we easily cut off. Nope, not today. Absolutely not. But if it's more like, oh, I don't know how to do this and I'm scared, or, oh, I don't know what the outcome will be. It could benefit me, it could not. Maybe we need to dive a little bit deeper in there before automatically just saying, right? So that's why understanding the why behind why you want to say no is critical there. Now, the next step I would say is actually just verbalizing it. Say no. A lot of times we get so scared to do something, and we just have to just do it with ourselves, just like in front. If you maybe you're non-confrontational, right? I wouldn't know anything about that, but for others that I've worked with, and for yourself, maybe you're a non-confrontational person. A really good way to start to develop and flex that confrontation skills is to just start verbalizing what you would say to that person. So if, for instance, we're in a super simple situation, right? In the sense of it's clear that you need to say no. This is someone who's toxic to you. Every time they speak to you, they say something negative, or they discourage you, or they try to put you down. What's a really good thing to say? No, I do not want to have this conversation. No, I will not be spoken to this way. No, I will not do this for you because it hurts me. Right? So say that in a mirror, right? Like, look at yourself and be firm and be grounded in the fact that you deserve and you have the permission to say no. And it's really, it might be hard for like the first 100 times you do it. It really might be. If you're not comfortable with saying no, we're flexing here. This is going to be a flex moment for us. And we're going to have to do it, and we're going to have to take time and work through that process. But it's worthwhile. The greatest investment you'll ever make in yourself, in your life, is for yourself. So taking time to like even watch this and learn what are these 8 key steps that you can do to just say no and really commit to that process is giving you more years, more happiness, more joy, more fulfillment, and more purpose in your life. Okay. So just for people coming in and out, number 1, get clear on what you want. That way it's super easy to know what you don't want. Second, understand why you don't want what you don't want, right? Is it fear? Is it lack of understanding? Or is it something that is absolutely just not tolerant? You're not going to tolerate it in your life. Third, say it out loud. Say no. Just no, 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 no. Literally, like, just say no. Fourth, and this is a goodie. This is like my favorite because the Jamaican heritage in me is all about like cutting out excuses. I have no time, myself or my clients, for this idea of like, well, I just, nope, no excuses. Number 4, cut out and stop using excuses. Stop using them. If you say no to someone, is it going to upset that person? Most likely. If you say no to someone, is it going to disappoint that person? Most likely. If you say no to that person, or that situation, is there going to be a consequence? Yes. There's a consequence for saying yes, and there's a consequence for saying no. Consequences don't go away whether you make someone happy or not. You have to live with the decisions you make each and every day, each and every decision. So if you say yes because you're afraid to say no, what's the consequence to you by doing that? Versus if you say no and then what's the consequence? Again, what's the consequence for you? Is it happier existence? Is it better? Are you benefited? You have to work that out and think through that process. But you know what's good for you, and you should know what's not good for you. And if you don't, that's a whole other separate conversation. But again, open that door to that possibility. If that's not clear to you, get clarity today, because otherwise, when are you going to get that clarity? Start today. All right. Number 5, leverage what makes you feel confident. So for me, I find that being confident in, and I've written about this and I've created content around this, and I'm happy to do more. If that's something you're interested in, please put that in the comments so that I can see that, and I'm happy to do it. It's easier to say no when you're constantly feeling more confident or more capable of saying no. So what are things that build your confidence? So for me, I generally would say that confidence has been a journey for me personally that I have had to strive at and develop through things like beauty or fashion or education, or, having key people in my network that feed into me as I can feed into them, self-learning, learning what confidence is, what does that look like, creating a regimen, like a confidence regimen for myself. So a lot of times people will say to me, wow, Natasha, you are confident, or da, da, da. It's because I'm doing things on a daily basis that make me feel more confident. So external and internal factors play a role in my confidence. You have to look, again, reflection. What makes you feel more confident? Is it reading certain stuff? Is it talking to certain people? Is it listening to certain music? Is it listening to certain content? Is it writing? Like, what are things that you can do on a daily basis that would level up your confidence? If you can identify those things and then actually commit to applying those things in your daily schedule, guess what? You're going to feel more confident each and every day, so that when the situation of I have to say no comes up, are you scared? No, you're like, bring it, as if I could care less, right? And that's really the attitude that you have to take. You have to prioritize yourself and your happiness and your well-being over others, because they're not going to do it for you. And that's self-preservation, but it's also like sanity. Because if you think about it, and it's also logic, it's illogical to hurt yourself for the benefit of others. I understand sacrifice. I understand doing kind of, a good thing for the benefit of those in your network or in your family or whatever. But ultimately, we cannot be throwing ourselves on railings because we're too afraid to say no, or we're too afraid to disappoint people. Sorry, player, it doesn't work that way. Nope, not today. So today, if you've never felt comfortable doing that, I want you to mark today as the permission that you give yourself to say, no, will not tolerate, will not deal with that anymore. But again, seeing that connection between confidence and saying no, the enablement of saying no is very much tethered. If you feel more confident, then it is a lot easier to say no. It is a lot easier to disappoint people, because you have grounding and foundation in yourself. So that's why that's step number 5. Step number 6 is going to be celebrate every single victory. Every single victory. So every time you say no, that's a victory. Every time you do something for your confidence journey of leveling up there, that's a victory. Every time you take the time to think about your wants and your needs and getting that clarification of like, what do I want? What do I need? Why do I not want X? Those are victories. So, and those are just some examples. There's like a myriad of victories. Waking up is a victory. Like, hello, we're all here and alive. Victory, yes. Being able to create content, yes. Today I'm working on my step count, yes. Like all victories, like victory, victory, victory. So whatever victories, I'm sure you've had like at least 20 victories up until this moment. So count every single one, celebrate them. For you, it might be like a woohoo. For others, it might be a TikTok, like whatever however you want to celebrate it. For me, I just like kind of thank the universe every single time, like thank you, universe. That's what I do, but find the way that you want to celebrate it. But I want you to acknowledge every single victory along the way. Why? Because we spend a lot of time focusing and honing in on the negative things, thoughts, people, situations that happen on a daily. Spend that same amount of time, even better, spend more. How about them apples? Spend more time celebrating your victories, because guess what? Then you minimize the time that you have for the negative people or the negative situations that have happened in your day. Try it for one day, and you'll see the difference, and then you'll repeat and you'll be like, Tosh, you're a genius. Thank you. I know. I appreciate it. All right. So number 1, get clear on what you want. Number 2, understand why you want to say no. Number 3, say no out loud. Say no. It feels good. It's delicious. It's delicious, guys. Number 4, stop using excuses. You're better than that. You're bigger than them. Move on. Number 5, leverage what makes you feel confident. Confidence enables you to feel powerful enough to say no more often. There's a tie. There's a connection there, guys. Number 6, celebrate every victory. Every victory. How many victories have you had up until this moment? Celebrate them now if you haven't celebrated them. Number 7, the coach in me says to you, ask for help, right? If you really are struggling with saying no, if you're really struggling with boundaries, then this is not something that you might want to do by yourself. This might be something that you work with a coach with. This might be someone that you work with a mentor with, whoever and however you want to get the help. If you want to start listening to podcasts about boundaries or communication, if you want to start reading a kind of professional, not professional, but it could be actually professional and personal development books or content around this topic, seek out the help. Ask for help. If you refuse to ask for help, then the answer is always going to be no to you, and you're never going to get the guidance and the insight that you're looking for. We don't know what we don't know, and a lot of times we're like, well, I got this. I can do this by myself. Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you really? Okay. Because I myself will tell you, I do not sit here and say, oh, everything I know and I've learned, I've figured it out on my own. I haven't utilized any resource. Like, bull. I call bull on that. Try again. You and I and every single human being on this earth were born knowing nothing. Nada. Nothing. And what did we do? We were taught everything up until this moment. Whether we taught ourselves or others taught us, we are constantly inundated with knowledge and insight from others. So why would you think that creating boundaries and learning how to say no more is something that you don't need help from others? This video itself is a resource for you that can help you move forward with this process. So please, please, please don't get in your feelings about this. Just like ask for help and move forward. Okay. So if that's something that you also want help with, you'll be able to get help at dressingyourmate.com. You'll be able to go there and see this blog post that will have this video. We'll have my notes, my Dear Journal notes for you, as well as you'll be able to get my contact information and all that good jazz. And then number 8 is really kind of hones in us to how I started this conversation, which is take time to reflect and adjust. As we go through the process of saying no, there are going to be things and moments that you're going to learn. Things about yourself as to how you liked, oh, I like doing this way. Oh, I didn't really enjoy this. Oh, I liked how this turned out, right? Like every single moment in our life is a teachable moment. So some lessons we like more than others, cool. And for the ones that we don't, that's where we take time to reflect and adjust. What are things that you didn't like? And it's not just like, I didn't like this, but why? Why didn't you like it? Did it make you feel uncomfortable? Did you feel like it could have gone a different way? Did you want to say something and you didn't say it? Or you didn't say something the way that you wanted to, right? Like, what are the things that you have to kind of deconstruct to ensure that the next time you have a similar situation, you approach it differently or you handle it differently? That's why we have to take the time to reflect and adjust. adjust the process, adjust our mindset, adjust what we're doing, all of that good jazz. So to wrap it up, as we kind of wind down this Dear Journal conversation, it's always like so sad for me because I like love coming on here and giving you guys info, but okay, it's okay. Tosh, we'll get it together. Number 1, get clear on what you want. Number 2, understand why you want to say no. Number 3, say no out loud. Say no. It works. It works. Number 4, stop using excuses. Number 5, leverage what makes you feel confident. Number 6, celebrate every victory. Number 7, ask for help. You know. Number 8, take time to reflect and adjust. All right. So are you ready to say no? Listen, say no. Just say no. It's say no, guys. It's so much easier. Now, I always include kind of my words of wisdom. I think that that's just like a fun little tidbit of extra help and extra insight as to the tips that I give in these Dear Journals. More action, less talking about this process is going to help you. So like, oh man, I need to say no more. Or, oh man, I have to stop doing this. Stop saying that. Just start doing it, right? Like just say no. Instead of talking about saying no, how about just do it, right? So I think that that's something that's helpful, that more action, less talking can be applied across the board, across the spectrum for you in life. A lot of times we spend talking about things, like spend time doing that, and instead of the action. So my encouragement, my words of wisdom, get to doing, less talking about it. Patience. I say this because this is a personal reminder to myself. Growing up, I struggled with patience, even as an adult. Like it's extremely, like it's a teachable lesson and a journey for me that is going to literally continue to just be something that I have to learn about this process of patience for as long as it takes. I don't know how long it will take for me to get fully comfortable with it, but I know that at this point in my life, I'm a lot more comfortable than I used to be a year ago or 5 years ago or 10 years ago. So I'm really proud of myself there. I ask you to do the same. Kind of look at your patience levels and could you improve? Are there moments where you've been extremely impatient with yourself or extremely impatient with a process? If so, what are you doing to deal with it? So a big part of, for me, patience is reminding myself. I don't necessarily get more patient when other people remind me. I usually get not in defensive, but I'm just like, oh, you don't know, like kind of dismissive in nature. So I find it's always been most effective when I remind myself and I'm like, Tosh, patience, boo, patience. And I'm like, oh, okay, yes, be more patient. But the minute someone else tells it to me, I like kind of turn into a bulldog. But when I do it, it's like an instant kind of like, yes, patience, namaste. Next, be kind to yourself. I have learned that, for 2020 has been a heck of a year, right? I can't imagine you would be like, nah, Tosh, it's been like, it's just another year. Nope. No, we're literally unprecedented history being made every single day, announced in our news every single day. And kindness to yourself is going to see yourself through the journey, see yourself through the trials and tribulations that you not only face this year, but will continue to face throughout your life, because that is what life is. Ups and downs, learning all the way through. Be kind to yourself. So when we are going through this and say you're like, yes, I love this, I'm going to say, no, I'm not doing that what this person wants me to do, right? And you go to that conversation and then guess what happens? It doesn't maybe go the way that you intended. The expectation is different than the outcome achieved. That's okay. Look at that time, like look at the situation and do that assessment. Did you say what you meant to say? How did you say it? What was the language choice used? What was the tone that was used? Like, do a deconstruction of the situation. Write it down, journal it, so that you can be like, you know what? I said this in a really aggressive way. The person I was speaking to doesn't respond well to aggressive tone, so they shut down before even hearing the words that came out of my mouth. So if I want this person to respond, I need to come to the situation much more calmer. I need to come to the situation with using this type of language as opposed to X type of language, right? Like, do that assessment, because that will give you insight as to maybe why the expectation, the outcome didn't match, and why you ultimately need to adjust your approach to that person or to those types of situations. But be kind to yourself. If something doesn't work out, it doesn't give you permission to dog yourself out. It doesn't give other people permission to be like, oh, see, you were talking about that. If that didn't work, I'm not doing that. Like, no. Be kind to yourself through the process, through the wins and through the fumbles. And then that way, it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to handle. It's a lot less pressure. We create so much pressure. At least I know for myself and for people I've worked with, we sometimes create such pressures because if we don't achieve how we say we're going to achieve, we feel like falling apart because we're not being kind enough to ourselves. Because even if you don't achieve what you set out to achieve, what did you learn? What was the good part that happened? What was the things that could be adjusted for the future? It's all good stuff. It's not bad. It's learning. Sometimes learning is hard, but nonetheless, the learning is necessary. And with that pretty much like sums up what I wanted to talk about for this Dear Journal, Just Say No session. If you have follow-up questions, if you have additional thoughts, best thing to do is put some comments here. You should be seeing this on Facebook, on Periscope, on YouTube, which is exciting. You'll also, like I said, be able to get a recap of this on the blog on dressingyourmate.com. So make sure you visit there. And then, of course, if you want to schedule a session to chat with me about maybe something specific to you regarding the subject, schedule a session, free. There's no issues. There are no excuses. Cut it out. I look forward to speaking with you. I look forward to chatting with you. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time, guys. It's always a good time with Tosh. So come on. This has been enlightening. This has been great reminders even for myself. And so I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that this enlightened you. And I hope you say no. Say no. Say no more often. It could save your life. It really could. All right, guys. It's been a pleasure. Go to dressingyourmate.com to see the schedule and for events. And then that way you'll be able to know when you'll be able to access more Tasha time for you. More time with me. Woohoo! It's going to be good, guys. All right. Have a blessed and productive and wonderful day.